Hello, folks, and welcome to your Friday night podcast here on the Four Lads Had a Dream channel. I'm your host this evening, Andrew Stewart. With me, two of my best pals in the show, Calvin. I know you've been gallivanting away abroad. How are you, man? Happy to be back home?
I'm all good. Came back for a good weekend. And Bobby, I think you'll find we were 7 on the button. So we weren't late.
No comment. I'm happy that you had a good time and you're back in your native Glasgow for the big game this weekend. Also with me, you'll never find a smile any better than the man below me on the camera here. Marathe, how are you, mate?
I'm really good, mate. Very, very excited to be back on Friday night. The Four Lads young team back together. But Bobby, just in Bobby's comment, we were 30 seconds late, and that was because Andrew was adjusting his camera angle so that he could get Matondo's match-worn shirt in the shot because he believed that everybody watching this would want to know he's got a Matondo shirt
No.
whatever reason.
I believe that is a form of fabrication, to be perfectly honest. But
even Matondo doesn't want a Matondo shirt.
This is true. It's going. So it was in the bargain bin. He's away. Remember at the end of the season.
Have you told everyone you're selling it for £2.50?
You wouldn't want to know how much you actually
Wait
spent.
for it to go for 2 chomps and a bottle of limeade.
I wish it was. It was definitely not that.
Andrew, I think you should tell the viewers how much you paid for it. I think they'd love to know. They'd love to know.
You know what? For full clarity and for a good laugh, just to make you all feel allowed and accepted here, I spent £124 on a signed Rabbi Matondo shirt. So there you go.
Billions and billions and billions and billions.
Well, this is true.
Good investment, mate. Good investment.
Oh, definitely.
Sell it for a fiver one day.
He'll go back to the second Bundesliga and be average again, and it'll soar in stock price. But enough of discussing God. Let's get on with what we are all here for. Let's talk about the jails. Obviously, press conference day. Danny Röhl faced the media, and it was a lot of hype and a lot of back and forth. The media seems to say, I think it was the war of words STV News had on their intro discussing the comments from both respective managers. I wouldn't have maybe said war. I think it was maybe a misinterpretation or a lot of hype over very little really said. Calvin, I mean, the main one was in relation to Luke McCowan's comments, and even then, from some people I know that are Celtic, sided, I don't hold it against them. Even they were kind of gobsmacked by the comments Luke McCowan made, and to be honest, I think the only crime Danny Röhl has committed is reading the table, and the last time I checked, that's not a crime.
No, I think the easy way to put it is we shouldn't care what he says. It's all about Rangers when it comes into this game. But I severely hope that Danny's got that picture with a quote put up in the dressing room before the game, because that's all that should motivate that team to get them going now. Everything else takes care of it, but that there should just put the fire in their belly that wee bit extra more, because they should know they're a better team than they are. And if they don't believe that, they don't deserve to wear the blue. So for me, get that up in the dressing room, let the players know what they think, and do it there and prove them wrong, like we do most times these days.
Yeah, I fully agree. It's a comment that can look badly post 90 minutes at Ibrox on Sunday. But from a Rangers point of view, I mean, I think Danny Röhl says, the quote was, I think at the moment we are in second position, they are behind us. I think they have 7 or 8 defeats. I think in general, it makes no sense to speak too much about the other side. We have to focus on ourselves. We have to win this game. I see my team is ready to take points. I'm confident we have a big chance to win this game. For as little as he actually said, I think he read the table in terms of positions and win, draws and losses, and then he just said, I'm happy with my team. I think we're going in the right direction. I think it's a lot of nothing from the media.
Yeah, you know, before these big games and rivalries, of course, it's in their interest to try and dredge up some comments that people can get a little bit of traction with and get a bit of back and forth, and it builds to the event, doesn't it? But from a Celtic point of view, what he said was the worst thing that he could have said. But from the Rangers' perspective, it's the very best thing that we could have heard, because this should have the potential, or it should. If it doesn't, there's a problem. But it should. Those words should ignite a fire in the hearts of our Rangers players, and it should erupt, and it should burn with the power of 1,000 suns, right? And not go out for 90 minutes. And that should be a constant reminder to our players that this is what's at stake. This is what they think about you. That should hurt them. That should really inspire them and motivate them to want to break them on Sunday and embarrass them. Not just beat them, but break them. Absolutely end them for the rest of the season. And I just hope that all the technical wizards out there right now are working away diligently in the background, and they've taken the little soundbite and they're making the little memes and they're getting ready with them. So at 2 o'clock on Sunday, all the Rangers memes will come flying out the minute the final whistle goes, and we can all share them and all enjoy them. So guys, that's how you're going to spend your next wee couple of days getting ready. All you technically minded whiz kids out there, get to it.
Well, Calvin, Amrit has set homework for the audience this evening, so Mr. Amrit is looking forward to seeing you hand in your work on Sunday afternoon. Back to the press conference, I think there was the same usual aura we get from Danny. You know, he has a lot of praise for his team and their work ethic. I mean, he said that the training this week, he said we were on fire. Which is it's rare you get a manager to praise his team like that. I feel like it's usually kind of a calmed, we worked hard this week, but I like the extra emphasis he gives on his players. Again, it could be motivational in relation to the game. He said it's a crucial game, but no team will bow after this game. It seemed the media again pushing the winning you're in, losing you're out kind of title for this game, but I think we have a man who's kind of happy to praise his team, but also preaching that calmness that we've seen him for the last month and even beyond that.
Yeah, I think it's typical how it is. Everything's clear, and I think that's probably been one of the massive things in terms of his coaching and what he delivers within the team. Everything's clear, the message is clear. I know sometimes we go away from home, it's like we overthink it and we change too many things. But in general, at home, the clear message is get the ball forward quickly, attack. And I think you kind of see it just the way it relates to the players. One of the quotes that kind of got to me was hot in heart, smart in mind. Like, very good quote. Because it talks about it's pretty much get in there with the fire in the belly, but don't let the occasion overrule the head. And sometimes our biggest problem in certain games can be the passion overtakes the head. We've seen it with a few players. Dio's been kind of deals with that in the past, picking up yellow cards, silly red cards. So we need to be box smart. We've seen how things can change and how fast the cards can come out for the boys in blue and compared to other teams other times. So the players need to get it smart from the start. And I think that's what Danny means with that quote there as well. Don't give the referees any decisions to make. Don't put yourselves in any bad positions. Go out, tackle it fast, attack early, and put them on the back foot. And I think that's where you got the confidence to players. I think that's what the players will try to deliver come Sunday. And I think that's what we're pushing in training this week.
Definitely. He in relation to the kind of calmness, he also, and I was impressed by it, I thought it's obviously very true. He mentioned the other three teams around him, obviously including Motherwell in there, which I think a few people are dismissing that, the fact that it is very close between the top four, and this what has been classed as an unprecedented kind of title run in, but that kind of bigger picture, kind of thinking that Danny shows is why I feel this kind of confidence. I feel like we've if you were to compare, and I'm going to go off piste here. Forget the games that have come until now. Could you imagine if you dropped Russell Martin in ahead of this weekend's fixture? Do you think that he would have been able to even handle that mental pressure anywhere near as cool and as calmly as Danny has?
I think that's one of the great qualities and strengths of Danny Röhl, that he has that steely ability, that strong character to remain calm when everything else around you is just chaos. And you need that's what leadership is. because you need that. Because a lot of these players, they'll be feeling every single emotion possible. They'll want to win. There'll be great anticipation. There'll be a little bit of trepidation and fear. Some of them won't know what it is to play in a big old firm at Ibrox. So there's a lot of moving parts to all of this. And whilst all that chaos is going on, you need someone, a strong, defiant leader, to calm down everyone and say, yes, this is a huge moment in the landscape of our season, and it will have big repercussions as to where we finish at the end of the season. I don't care what anyone says. I don't buy this whole thing, oh, the league's not going to be over if we lose on Sunday. As far as I'm concerned, if we lose on Sunday, mathematically it might not be over, but it will have a massive implication on the confidence and the mindset and the momentum of our team. That is undeniable. Whichever team wins will pick up that momentum, and they will be able to carry that forward into the remaining 9 games. I want us to be that team, because we need that. And it will put a nail in the coffin of Celtic's hopes and dreams. Perhaps not mathematically, like I said, but certainly mentally it will. We'll be in there, rent-free, and they'll be thinking, we went to Ibrox and we got beat. What's our season's done? Then they'll be going to Aberdeen, worrying, knowing that even if they beat Aberdeen, they're still behind us. That's another weight of responsibility. And then 3 days later, they're thinking, we've got to go back to Ibrox where we just got pumped. That's what we need to think about, the implications, the impact that this victory on Sunday has, not just for the day, but for everything that follows. This is a huge pivotal moment for us, and it needs to be recognised as such. We can't just say, oh, a point's all good, don't worry about it. That's a lazy narrative. That's a loser's mentality. We're Glasgow Rangers. We don't think like that. We are there to capture, to conquer, to rule, and to absolutely bully them in every area of the game. Nothing less than that is acceptable as far as I'm concerned.
Calvin, I feel like I could sit back and just let Amran go all night. I could just sit and just leave him with the live mic. Again, it's exactly what we all think. It's exactly what we all should think. I think, obviously, in relation to that point, I think it's Daniel said 24 points is still up for grabs. Although he even said, it's not the end of the world, not in those exact words, but it certainly gives the winners the driving seat. And I think that's exactly how you see it. As Amit said, mentally, you are behind. It's almost out of your hands, evidently, because you're then relying on teams to slip up. It would be so much better for us, Kelvin, to just get the result, even comfortably would be even better. And then that's one of these big games in the calendar ticked off.
Yeah, I think it's the big things. We just need to keep on Danny rolling, just like the way Armit was saying there. We've just got to keep picking up points, and it needs to be 3 points. These silly drop points that we've had in the last 3 away games especially, these need to stop. We can't risk that anymore. Hearts are still in the driving seat, and we need to close the gap every single chance we get. We can't give them another chance to push any way further. And that's before you even talk about how Motherwell, who are playing fantastically just now, stop them getting close to us as well. That's the big thing. There's 4 teams in and around these points right now. Hearts in the driving seat. We cannot drop points like we did at Livingston, Hibs, Motherwell. That needs to stop now. 3 points on Sunday is a must. Close down the gap. Hearts have still got Motherwell to play and before the split as well. So there's going to be points coming and going on all sides, but we need to make sure that we are 3 points every single week and just take it game at a time.
Definitely, and when you mention those setbacks, those games, even to Livingston most recently, we have seen those kind of falters, but we've also seen the game at Parkhead, where you come from behind the Hearts game, Amrit, as well, where you go behind twice. He does well again to praise his team individually. He's saying about that big personality. It seems to be what we should be having on T-shirts. Danny Röhl 2026, big personality. And resilience, the key words. It's like your business PowerPoint, but he means it, and that's the thing. A manager telling you this, and you don't believe an ounce of it compared to a manager when he tells you it, you believe it. It says a lot, especially with these players, because a lot is said about a lot of the players, but if it can go right and they can all be working for each other and the ship going in the right direction, it can be there for the taking if they just believe and make it their own.
Yeah, this is the thing. The words to me have always meant very little, because without action, without the effect of the words, it means nothing. It's empty. So we can talk about resilience and resolve and all the rest of it, but if we are not seeing that demonstrated on the pitch, it doesn't hold any weight with the fans. We're not daft. you know, and understand that managers got to frame things certain ways and sort of put them out in a way that softens the impact or the negative impact that some of the energy could have. But looking at what happened at Hearts and then Livingston, I said it in my match day vlog against Livingston. On this against Hearts, we displayed all those qualities that we're discussing. We displayed all those virtues, the resilience, the resolve, the fighting Rangers spirit in their hearts. We saw all of that, and we didn't see it once, we saw it twice, because they came from behind twice, then they went on to win, and it was a fantastic performance. They did incredibly well, and they're to be commended for that. But only 7 days later, we went to Livingston and saw a completely different side of their personality. It was like Jekyll and Hyde. And we cannot have this inconsistency in their mentality and performance if they want to build momentum, string together results, and begin to close that gap against Hearts. Because Hearts had a very good weekend last weekend, Andrew, because we dropped and Celtic dropped and they won. They weren't great against Falkirk, under any illusions. They weren't. They scored just before half-time, a good time for them to score, terrible time for Falkirk to concede, but it was a good weekend for them. This weekend, again, if Hearts win, no matter what happens at Ibrox, it's another good weekend for Hearts, because they will either increase their lead over one team, two teams, or both. Either or. Whatever happens, they'll either increase their lead over Celtic or Rangers, or both if we draw. So that's two good weekends on the spin for Hearts with 9 games to go. So they're loving life. They really are. And it's incumbent upon us to develop some sort of momentum where Hearts are scared that if we drop points, Rangers are going to do the business. They've got to know that if they open the door, even just a little creak, that we'll go thundering through that door and we'll take advantage of it. If we begin to drop points at silly venues like we have done, they'll just be like, do you know what, it's complacent. They'll be, doesn't matter what we do, because these guys are never going to catch us anyway. And once that sets into the mindset of the Hearts players and into the hearts of the Rangers players, the league's done. So mentality and momentum are so critical at this stage in the season. And Rangers really need, like Calvin said, one game at a time, yes. But we need to be very focused, laser focused on every single game, not being complacent whether we're home or away. We need to implement the same strategies, the same mindset, the same powerful personality, and impose ourselves on games. We need to erupt into games. All this playing your way in, taking 15, 20 minutes to get into the game is nonsense. They should be exploding into games and ragdolling teams in the first 10 minutes, blowing them away with our intensity, our power, and our purpose. That's what we need to do. I'm not saying we need to score in the first 10 minutes in every game, but we need to have that intent, and that will strike fear in the hearts of our opponents. That's where we will turn this season around if we can.
Calvin, I'm whipping out the Jekyll and Hyde comment. I haven't read it since Higher English, but I think I remember the reference. So I back it. I think this was also spoken by Danny, where he's aware that the magnitude of this game. He knows his support will continue to back the team as we always do, and he asks his players to give the fans it back with that intensity that we demand of them. But again, as Amit does say, actions speak louder than words. It's just going to be up to those players on the park. It's going to be a strange one for me, where this whole run-in is nothing I've experienced, where there is so many other games in the calendar that could sway it, as you said, Motherwell and Hearts. We said a lot at the time, and you find across all kind of shows and across Twitter, and even from the manager's words himself under Steven Gerrard, it was one game at a time. That was always when it was talking about that undefeated season, it was one game at a time, and the title was there, but it's one game at a time. It's seeing this duality of it, where it's the race and it's there. It feels, we had the Clermont season where we took the lead and it slipped away. It's so important that, as Amrit said, if you can get that win, it gets you rolling, as we've said so many times, that roll on, next game, roll on. And that snowball effect takes you just through the rest of the pack. That confidence should, as Emma said, that should make you boot down the door to the trophy.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing. Like, any time this season where we've looked at a game in front, like the big one, for example, everybody looked at Hearts before the Motherwell game, and then that let us down in the Motherwell game. We made a lot of changes, things that happened. That needs to stop. We need to play best 11 every single week. And it seems we are like going away from home and things like that. I always think we go too conservative and we end up dropping a striker. We go to more a pack midfield. The ball doesn't go as forward as quick. Teams pack in. We can't let that happen. We need to dominate teams. Rangers teams of the past, this is the time of the season where they would step up massively and they would put teams to massacre. They would absolutely destroy them. They'd put them on the back foot, not give them a chance to breathe. And that's what we need to do in every single game between now and the end of the season. We need to dominate. We need to show them who we are. We need to show them they're the best in the country. We need to get 3 points every single week. And if we don't do that, by like giving ourselves too many changes, taking players who are in form out just because they might pick up an injury, that's when things are going to happen. We've seen it in the past. So we need to go best 11 every single week. I prefer it when we go at this 4-4-2 and we get two bodies up front and we put teams under pressure and we get the ball quick, we spin it in behind, we get the ball wide, we whip in at the box. That's massive. Massive thing for me come the weekend is Naderi hopefully is fit to start, because then that allows you that chance. Steve has talked about it a couple of days ago as well. When you've got like a Chermiti, Majovski, the two of them like to drop in. That doesn't then suit a 4-4-2. You need to have that striker who wants to be the focal point, gets himself in the box, makes himself that goal scorer, the one-touch striker that we've seen from Naderi in these few performances so far. And that's massive for me. I'm sure we'll talk about what our best 11 is for Sunday, but I think there'll be a lot of questions around that as well, because there is a few players that probably deserve a chance to be in there, but we've only got 11 names in the team sheet.
Yeah, it was one thing that Danny almost said, that he has that headache again. You have so many players, he says, that are prepared for the game. Obviously, Calvin's mentioned Ryan Naderi, who again I'm loving watching the lad. I think he's a real talent. Even down to the smaller things, like when Nadeem Bayrami comes off the bench at Livingston, he looks lively. He looks like he wants the ball. A player who has had impacts in Old Firm's past, I think at the Cup game, where he took Callum McGregor out of the game with his intensity. There is also the backline in conversation. Dujon Sterling was one of the players mentioned alongside Ryan Naderi from Danny Röhl. It wasn't a very large squad update, to be perfectly honest, but he mentioned that both were training, but it's too early to make the call for Sunday. He said the session early in the week was a heavy session, and it was just about the reaction to that. So tomorrow would be a better shout for them. So we'll just need to wait on Sunday. Those two, Amrit, your Ryan Naderi up top, as well as Dujon Sterling's influence at the back end of the park. Having those two options, who in Dujon's case, he's seen them, he's seen Old Firms now. In Ryan's case, where this could be a bursting onto the scene in this big fixture, it would be crucial to get both of them back.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Andrew, wholeheartedly. I think Dujon offers so much in that right back role. He is the best right back at the club, in my opinion, and he would be a miss if he wasn't there, because if Tavernier plays at right back and Dujon's missing, that there's an area of weakness within our team, I believe. I think we'll talk about our starting 11, but I think we could probably, between the three of us, come up with a system and an 11 with Dujon Sterling in it that we would be very confident of being able to go and do the job. I think if you put Tavernier in that 11, there's a weak link. There's an area there to be exploited, as it has been in years gone by and games gone by. So I think it's crucial that Dujon Sterling is fit and plays there. He offers so much, and I think in that 4-2-2-2, he's then got license and liberty to get himself down the flank, down the right-hand side, overload, get balls into the box, which is what Calvin was talking about, and then you want your two strikers in the box that are there to receive it. There's no point putting stuff in the box and you've got Chermiti, 10 yards outside the 18-yard box and there's nobody in the 6-yarder. You need that big Nadiri with the movement, with the power, with the hunting for the ball. He's got great anticipation as well, which I've noticed a few times when we've seen him. He's got that sort of striker's instinct where he knows where he should be and when he should be there. Chermiti doesn't really have that in his game just yet. I'm not saying that he can't develop that skill, but Nadiri seems to me to have that as a raw, instinctual talent. And that's crucial, and you need that in these type of games. So Dujon, yes. Nadiri, absolutely. I think you go two up front, which is what Calvin said, but we'll come on to that in more detail probably. But Dujon's a big player for us. I think the only thing, we've talked about it long and weary, is the inability for him to stay fit. That's the biggest thing. I think if Dujon could stay fit and give us, 50, 60 games a season, it would be great. And the tragic thing is, you've got a player like Magoma, who's 19 years old, seems to be made of steel, has played over 40 games this season, and he's not even taking a breath. And he's still going. And Douge on the other side, every time, there's a poor tackle or something happens in training, he's out for weeks at a time. So it's hard to take that, because you see that the laddie's got talent, but he just can't stay bloody fit, and it's so frustrating. But if he's fit on Sunday, for me, absolutely 100%, he must start.
Yeah, before we get into our kind of team breakdown, what we'd like to see, just a quick one. Obviously, there was a bit of news just regarding Parag Marathe and him stepping away from the hierarchy at Rangers. From what I can see, it seems like this isn't anything to worry about, which I think puts minds at rest. I think that is the main thing. Is this is not a nightmare. I think this is basically Rangers getting ahead of any sort of potential ramifications that could head their way, with obviously Marath's dual ownership, his stance at Leeds, and the fact that Leeds are still potentially, and you can say what you want about Leeds in the cup, but they have the potential to be playing in Europe next season, and I think it's better addressed. And I'm happy that we're on the ball with this, Kelvin. There's going to be no, this isn't going to sneak up on us down the line and cause us any problems. And also, it's fair on Leeds as well from their point of view. We wouldn't want to sabotage any sort of potential they have of Europe. So I think it's going to be smart play, and is my take on it from Rangers.
Yeah, I think it's just something that's better addressed early. There's no concerns from us as a fan base, and I think as the clubs have dealt with it really efficiently, really smartly. You've seen last year, Crystal Palace, Lyon situation where they didn't think it would cause too much issues, and it did. So it's just better the club deal with it there and then, close the case, and it sets everything up for the rest of the season so both teams can enjoy their fight for the titles and the cups in their own situations. And I think that's as much as a fan base we don't need to think about it as just now. There's no major dramas, there's no major news. It's just dealing with a situation before anything arises.
Yeah, that's the simple suggestion of the events. I mean, it's just one thing that Rangers, I feel, probably have to discuss at some point. I mean, this is the way it is with the dual sponsorship. As you said, Calvin, we've seen it in teams in Europe, and it is bitten teams, and we don't want to have another issue to deal with. It's out of sight and out of mind now, this problem. Let's go on to what we'd like to see squad-wise. And you've both hinted at what you would like, but I'd like to hear it in full. There's many a take. I'm seeing lots of discussion and comments of formations and personnel, but I'd like to hear from you lads. As I just chucked Kelvin a kind of slight comment there, let's start with you, Amrit. What would you like to see your squad and your personnel?
Oh, this is it. This is going to get spicy. I might get a lot of hatred on the comments. So, guys, if you disagree with me, be kind in the comments, please, okay? So, for me, obviously, Butland and goals, that's not a question. Sterling, if he's fit, which I already mentioned. Romans at left back, because he is just Arthur Newman reincarnated, isn't he? Calvin and I agree on that wholeheartedly. I'm actually going to see Arthur Newman tomorrow night in Hamilton. There's a meet and greet with Arthur Newman and Torrey Andre Flo, so going to that tomorrow night, which I'm very excited about. That'll get the battle fever on, hopefully, for the Sunday. So Romans at left back, and controversially, I would play Fernandez and I would partner him with Jigger. I would drop John Souttar. It seems to me that John Souttar has become this type of player for us, and I'm not Souttar bashing before anybody says that, but John Souttar's got a mistake in him, as players do, as professional athletes do. But I think what's happening is that we're getting consistent errors which aren't being addressed, and then there's no accountability. And I feel sometimes it doesn't matter what John Souttar does, there are no consequences to him playing poorly. And I think when a player believes that it doesn't matter what they do, they're still going to be on the team sheet, they lose the incentive. And I think maybe John Souttar would benefit from a couple of games away from the team, so that he can almost reignite that fire within him and get that fight back to actually fight for his place, rather than just think that it's preordained, which is, I think, where he is just now. And I think you see that in his performances. He wasn't great at Livingston. A lot of people have said that. They're making excuses at a plastic pitch. Listen, he's played on a plastic pitch before. He's a professional athlete. That doesn't wash with me. So I would drop John Souttar and play Jigger and Fernandez. I'd go with a 2-2-2. I would have Chucky in there, and I would drop Raskin. And I'd play Dio beside him. Another controversial one for a couple of reasons, because already we know Raskin loves a goal against Celtic. He plays well against them, and I understand and accept all of those arguments. But for me, I think Dio is the man to play in there with Chukwueze. I think their partnership will be beneficial on the day, and I think you can then give yourself the flexibility to potentially bring Raskin on if you feel you need him. But I think Dio and Chucky in that role. Ahead of them, I'm going with my 2 number 10s effectively, which is Mikey Moore and Skov Olsen. I know Skov Olsen hasn't started well in his Rangers career. A lot of fans aren't convinced by him, and I understand the argument, but I think he's shown enough for me that gives me confidence that in these big games, he will go ahead and produce the results. I think you've got to give him that opportunity, because looking at our squad, who else do you play? If you play that 4-2-2-2, 2-2-2, 3 twos. Who else do you play next to Mikey Moore? Gasman's not the one. Gasman's not the one to play in that role from the start, and I'll tell you why. Gasman does all the damage in the last 20 minutes when he comes off the bench, when everybody else is tired and leggy, the game's stretched, there's lots of space for him to run into, people are on yellow cards, they're scared to tackle. Gasman can have a field day. That's when you bring him on, and that's when he's his most impactful. When the game's tight and it's quick and it's fast-paced and people are chasing you down and you don't have a lot of time and everything's compact, he goes missing. You lose him. You forget he's even on the park. He spends half the time on the deck. So for me, you play Moore, you play Skov Olsen, and then up front, if Nadiri's fit, you go with him and you go with Chermiti to give us that option. Ask Celtic questions. You've got 2 big boys like Chermiti and Nadiri up front. They're going to think twice when they're setting themselves up and how they're defending straight away. You've got Scales there with, I don't know who the inexperienced centre-half will be next to him because Trusty's not there, but there will be someone there who hasn't had an opportunity to form a partnership or an understanding with Scales. So we need to then try and exploit that with 2 players that are going to stretch those 2 centre-halves. And then on this wings, you've got Romans coming up one side, you've got Sterling coming up the other to deal with Tierney and whoever the hell the other one is at right back. Will it be that? Is it the Mexican boy, or it'll be Ralston or whoever? So you've got to ask questions. So I think that's why you've got Nadiri and Chermiti in there as well. That would be my starting 11. And just as a wee side note, my wee brother calls the 4-2-2-2 the Stoner formation, because you've got the 4-2-2-2. And I said to him last week, I goes, what do you think we should play against Livingston? And he goes, I think it's got to be Stoner. It's got to be Stoner. And then when they lined up 4-2-3-1, he goes, how have they not gone with the Stoner? Why are they not playing the Stoner? So there we go.
I gave Stevie my word I'd keep using Czech this evening, and I did.
No, Stoner's okay. You can say Stoner. Can you? Surely. Can you not?
I'm right, mate. You can do what you want. It's not going to come down in my head, that's for sure. But it's, yeah, by all means, go with that formation. I've lost train of thought now. I think
Stoner. That's your prompt. Stoner. To be fair, someone in the comments, who is it? Let's see. The Rangers man 55, the meat and 2 veg formation, so he knows the score as well.
I can't believe I'm highlighting that in the bloody screen. Well, it's been nice hosting this show, folks. It's been a great experience, and if I don't see you down the line, you know why, and you have Amit to blame. But let's move on. And Calvin, I swear to God, if you come out with something along those lines, it'll be over for you, son. So get us back on track, please.
Right then, I'm going with the staunch Stoner formation as well. So, had to be done. Had to be staunch. So, agree, Butland and goals. Don't think we've any questions about that. My defence is slightly different. I'm also sticking with a 4. I controversially disagree with Amit thinking that Sterling's the best right back at the club, mainly because I don't think that's his best position. I think playing him at right back, he picks up far too many injuries. Most of his injuries come from muscular, which often relates to high intensity running, which the fullback has to do. So I'm going with Tavernier at right back. I think if we're putting balls into the box and delivering, he's the most accurate crosser in the club, picks up the most assists in general. So for me, Tav starting. And I think he has been shown lately as a good leader of the club. and the players seem to react to him really well. So that's something that I've picked up on. I'm going Sterling at centre-half. I agree Souttar's not been up to form lately, so I like Sterling at centre-half. I think it gives you that athleticism. It reads the game very well. Good recovery pace if you're dealing with players like Maeda and potentially that Adama that they've got. So that's for me, Sterling next to Mane. I think that's a very athletic, physical defence that's going to be very hard to get in behind. With Arthur's boy at left-back. We love Romans at left-back, don't we? So he's getting there. I went for a controversial 2-2. I'm not really thinking about them, but I'm thinking what gets the best out of our team. So I'm going with Raskin and Chukwueze as our 2. Then I'm going Moore and Dio, because I think Dio can then drop into a 3 if we need it. He can also play further up the park, and I think Dio gets very good performances in these games. He's very good in tight spaces. He's not that slow as well. He does offer you a bit of something pace-wise as well, and you can also interchange him and Raskin. Raskin likes to go as that wee extra man pressing up the park as well. Scott Wilson, I'd love to see him work in this game, but I think it might be too fast for him. We've seen it with players in the past where the pace of the game is frantic. It's mental. The atmosphere can get to you sometimes. He's a player with experience, but in the last few weeks, he probably hasn't shown the ability that we know that he has. So that's why I'm going with a wee bit of trusted there. Moore can drift into that 10, he can drift wide. Dio can also drift into the 10 and go out wide. He's done it in the past. And I think we all agree that it's Naderi and Chermiti up front, providing everybody's fit. It's a strange kind of formation for me, but I think it's something that will really work. And it's players that have played in all those positions before, just probably not in the same 11. But I think as a team, they're in it together. So why not go for a team that's athletic, can take control of a game, aggressive, can score goals. And it does give us plenty of options if we need to change it. And that's something that we've maybe not had in the past in these type of games, where it's once the starting 11's done, you look to the bench, you've got a Matondo who's got half a hamstring kind of sitting there who can't really do anything. So now we do have these options. So for me, that's what I'd go with. A bit out of the box, but I think it's something that could really work.
Yeah, God forbid a man have imagination. So I'm all behind you there, Calvin. Good stuff. I think, as you said, the 2 up top will be crucial with, and I'm not saying that Austin Trusty is, stalwart defenseman by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it'll be Scales and Dane Murray as a centre-back pairing that should be got at. Questions about who they go with the right back. I know they rested Anthony Ralston as well, and went for Donovan over Araujo. So a strange one, but again could be got at. Lots of intricate team formations you can come up with. I think Danny had suggested all fine and good talking about from style and how you can play in systems, but it's about application. I think. With even, as you said, Calvin, even the depth we have now, a player like Mikey Moore, who's already scored in this fixture, it's one where, are you going to play him off the flank? Are you going to play him almost up next to the striker? This way we've seen at Livy, that he's in another dimension, Amrit, that you can look at. There's just so much depth to this team, so many quality players that you could call upon at any sort of time in the game. Substitutions will be massive, and I think Danny has been sharp with making changes at half time. Freshening up legs is always one thing with subs, but also, as you mentioned with Gassama coming on late, subs can kill off a game.
Yes, absolutely they can. So you're going to have to be very strategic about how you deploy your subs, but we want to be in a position where we're deploying our substitutes from a position of strength, where we're in a commanding part of the game where we're either 1 or 2 up, and we're in a position then where we can change some things around and really go for the jugular. You don't want to be desperately chucking things at the wall in the hope that something will stick towards the end of the game, which is effectively what we did against Livingston. Bringing on who is it? The Alsatian, bringing on what's his name again? Asgard. Bringing on Asgard, with 10 minutes to go, that's going to change the fucking game. You may as well put me on the park at that time. I would have had just as much of an effect, I think. So little things like that, we need to be very wary of that. But the good thing is when you've got someone like Mikey Moore and Scott Olsen there, because they're comfortable playing out wide, although I do think Mikey Moore always does his best work through the middle, you do have that flexibility. So you can have that in-game adaptation as well that Danny Röhl might want to deploy because he knows he's got the personnel to do it. So you've got got flexibility and fluidity, and you can adapt as the game unfolds, because you don't really know how it's going to go. You can have a game plan, but the good thing is about Danny Röhl is he's never rigid in his approach to things. He does change before games, but in the middle of games, at the end of games. He is very adaptable, which is a skill. So the only thing I don't think he'll do, I take Calvin's starting lineup, and it makes perfect sense. He even drew on his sports science background there with Sterling gets muscle injuries and all the rest of it, so, which is great because that's knowledge and that's your department, and I commend you for it. You know a lot more about that than I do. But I don't think Danny Röhl is necessarily going to tweak with the shape too much, because I think the real two shapes that we've had this season that he's went with are either the 4-2-2, or he's gone with the 4-2. Or I'm not going to say it. Or he's gone with, or he's gone with the 4-2-3-1. So I think it will be one of those. And I'm with both of you. I think we're all in agreement that it should be the two up front, because we really need to get at them from the start. Let's not play into their hands. We're going to give them the momentum and the incentive. If we've just got Chermiti running about like a headless chicken trying to chase the ball, it's not really going to have any positive impact on the game. We want two guys up there to cause them problems and ask them questions, get their centre halves running back towards their goal, questioning where they are positionally, not knowing who's picking up who, a bit of chaos, a bit of panic in their back ranks. But you can only do that if you've got two strikers. So that's really, really critical for me.
I think we've all been playing to our strengths tonight. I mentioned Robert Louis Stevenson with the Jekyll and Hyde reference, Calvin's leaning on his sports science, and Ambert's just being the leader that he is, getting us all riled up with the battle fever. Mentioning, I read that at the time and I obviously lost my mind. I was creasing myself laughing. He would get me ready to go over the top in the Warlands, but Christ, it's been an interesting 42 minutes that led us down an incredibly wide route of an off ramp from where we were going, where we were heading, but I mean, it's not stopping. Just as we've been talking about this, there's more firing in, and again, we could be here.
I see you were getting ahead there, Andrew. So just be careful.
I'd love for either of you to be in this position, because you would just be pressing show comment. It's about restraint, fellas. All right. But I think we'll wrap up there. The show will be back tomorrow. Thank you. I just before we crack on, thank you. It's been a difficult night. You buy one football top, and all of a sudden these guys give you a hard time. But aye, we will be back tomorrow on the channel. Stevie and Andrew will be giving you their thoughts ahead of Sunday's big match. I'm going to go for a lie down. But a big thank you to my two guests tonight. Firstly, Calvin, thank you for your unbelievable efforts this evening and your sports science knowledge.
It's always handy to have it in the background that we can pick it up, but I'll leave the last remarks for Armit just in case he's got anything else up his sleeve. Thanks for having me on.
Premature ending. That's quality, Pat. Get that comment back up again, Andrew. Pin it to the page.
I'm going to find it again.
That is
now.
top quality banter. Who was that? Let's give him a shout out. Who was that? That is phenomenal. Where is it? Where is it? There we go. Blazing Blues 72. Go on yourself.
You're paying my fine here, Amrit, right? You're paying the fine.
But no, thanks, guys. It's been a really good evening. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to Sunday. It's going to be awesome. Calvin, you're off the drink on Sunday, I hear.
As it stands. Things change.
Oh, good answer.
You've twisted my arm a wee bit here.
A wee half bottle charger. It's your duty. You've got to, surely.
After Portugal, I'm out.
Christ almighty. I think I'm out after that one. But yes, thank you to both my two brilliant guests. Absolute comedians that they are. Thank you to everyone tuning in live. And anyone listening back after the fact. Just doing that quick roundup. Thank you to all the troops you see up above me and Calvin. You see our QR code in the top left. If you want to become a member, by all means, scan the code £1 a month, lots of extra content, good stuff on the channel for members. If not, by all means, chuck us a like in this video if you're listening to it live or watching it back, and a subscribe on the YouTube channel does us the world of good. But as I said, Stevie and Andrew Anderson back tomorrow. A nice double A as well there. So Andrew Anderson joining to round out the Andrews for the weekend. But if I don't see you before, I hope you have a great weekend. I hope your team wins. And yes, we'll catch you soon again on the channel. Thank you for watching. See you later.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.